To get back to the main action here in the LPL as Game 2 draft. Oh, wow. All right, we're
okay.
Cubby, immediate reactions.
Okay, we have Azir, Prio. I will say, a lot of early games showing for JDG and a lot of melees too. I think that if Jhin or Azir, if they can hold the line, things are good for them. Obviously, scaling really nice for WE. WE does like to index towards scaling. Again, this is a team. They're 5 and 6. They average being down a little bit in the earlier stages of the game. I think they usually like to have comps that go later. As with the fact that we have a marksman showing on one side and the jungler showing on the other, it looks like the ban's going to be targeted at those two roles.
Okay, so we're getting Taeyoon on a sort of more supportive AD carry. I know Jhin has a hyperscale window he can hit, but we're putting a lot of eggs in the Karis basket this game with that Azir. But Jhin, I know you called out the Nefiri. His maybe single best game of the entire split was against Thunder Talk, where he played this Nefiri like it was a masterclass and took over a pretty close game to give JDG a convincing win. Alistair comes off the board for Team WE, and that makes JDG feel happy as they'll lock in the Rel. It's like, hey, thanks for getting rid of the #1 Rel counter for missing.
Yeah, I will say I can understand that because obviously you don't want to take Alistair yourself with the Silas showing on the other side. So nice punish here. I'm curious, do we actually do? Yeah, I was about to say, I would be very surprised if we got a Lulu with a Jhin.
Oh.
We'll say Monki played this once. It's good in the melees. You have a couple R targets.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, we're doing it again. Okay. I will say, giving Silas Subjugate is a choice.
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, my goodness. Silas gets Subjugate. I need to do some research on my second monitor real quick. I don't know. Trundle kit. Trundle League of Legends.
Trundle Ultimates. That's what
What is the AP ratio on Trundle's Ultimate? Because this could be really scary.
Hey,
is there even an AP ratio?
Do you want to scout bounce back game, everybody? We got the best spot for it.
Okay, so the total magic damage, it's plus 2% per 100 AP. I'm curious how Silas's hijack actually interacts with that.
I'm out of my depth for this one.
Yeah, I will say MF locked in. Peyz's MF is 5-1 so far, is his most played. JDG and Peyz, they for sure have the MF pass. I know that MF champ that not a lot of fans love to see. You have to execute early. You have to be willing to step up with your BT. JDG for sure have a all early game composition, and it's about melees, it's about the dog pile, bullet time over the top. Whereas the scaling for WE going to be nice, but not a lot of opportunities for them to make plays early. And yeah, curious to see what happens when Silas joins the Subjugate and casts that on an Ornn, because that can be disgusting.
I do find it intriguing that we give Peyz the pass of the misfortune. Always a bit of a mind bender when you see it picked into a Trundle. So those pillars could really shut down the bullet times, which, as you kind of started to point out there a bit, Cubby, it's what worries about misfortune picks. If there's enough denial of that bullet time, it's really hard to make this champion flourish. But once again, we've landed on a draft where JDG are playing on the timer. They are playing on taking this game over in the mid-game phase and running away with it. Something they struggled to do mightily in Game 1 and arguably should have costed them Game 1. Nonetheless, that is in the rearview mirror as we set up Game 2 here as JDG look to come away with what would seem like on paper a convincing sweep, but will it really be through the eye tests? Only one way to find out as another game of League of Legends comes our way.
I gotta say, I haven't seen Trundle in a while. I am a fan of Trundle. I'm glad he's making a bit of a comeback. I will say that picking the MF into the Trundle, a little bit bold. The ability for Trundle to interact with both Rel and MF, that pillar can do some damage, and your ability to control space. I think that's what it is all about for WE in this game. Are you able to control space between Ornn, Azir, Jhin, not Trundle? They have all the tools in the world to try and do that, but they have to survive the early onslaught and dogpile and these stronger comp of JDG early.
Here we go. Back onto the Rift. Jayo's ring back in. And Monki on another Monki-esque pick, trying to lead his team back into the series and grab the longest win streak of Group Ascent so far. And early on, Vampire just really wants to try and thin the herd, I guess.
Yeah, again, looks like we favor JDG later on. That's interesting. I just, for scientific purposes, I'm really curious to see how big this Silas gets when he yoinks Subjugate and cast it on Trundle or Ornn. because that's going to be one big Silas. Of course, Subjugate, Trundle's ability, you get to steal resistances away from opponents and use that for yourself, something that Silas uses very well in his kit, where he's able to get tanky, and Scout, assuming that he's going to go for the tanky build this game with that Conqueror, and we've seen the Roa, we've seen the Riftmaker, we've seen the Yandries. You throw a Subjugate on top of all that health you're going to be stacking. That's going to be a really scary Silas later on.
I'm interested to see what the Neferi pathing looks like for Shun, and also Monki's Trundle, knowing that there's a lot more time for them to get a lot more creative, and Monki doing that on cue. He was spotted taking his blue buff, so I wonder how much of an idea Shun has that this is commencing, but boy, is this a route from Monki right now.
He's going to wait to see if that Neferi shows its face. I will say this would be a winning duel for the Trundle if you start on top of the Neferi.
Yeah. Waiting, biding his time. Maybe wants to let the red buff to some of the work, and then is going to collapse.
Let the ego down.
Shun, yeah, going to get the speed up. Trundle, one of the best 1v1 champions. His Monki's looking to show why. Karis going to swing over first. Wow. This is done and dusted. Shun falls to the might of Monki. First blood, WE.
All right, Monki using some of that early trading power. I know that, you know, Kelsey Moser, of course, we're blessed to have her help with this project. She's our producer for the day. Was definitely talking to us between games about, you know, Teachermon, WE, and this team, and how it just kind of runs through Monki, according to some of the things that have emerged on Weibo about Team WE. It is, you know, Monki say, Monki do for Team WE in a way. Definitely been a big carry. The fact that, you know, he's shown some flair with a pick like Trundle. This is a pick, again, unique. Trundle, like, your first couple clears are quite hard, but you can duel. And so to see Monki getting good use out of that is good. W from Scout. Escapes a potential second tower shot. He's not out scot-free, though, yet. Okay.
Just get away with the flash, though. Take that flash off the Azir. That is a prime target for Shun going forward.
Play there from Scout. As, of course, Monki going to return to his camps. I think it's going to be, like, in the end, actually not bad for Shun. Of course, he did go down, but he's going to get this crab, should get his blue buff afterwards, and we'll see if he's able to hustle back and get his respawn raptors and the other crab. I think that's where, if Monki wants to fight again, potential there, but with how mid's going, Slayer, yeah, I don't think that there's going to be any look to contest those respawn raptors early on. So I think Shun, I mean, obviously going down, losing a red buff, not ideal, but like, quite frankly, not the worst thing in the world.
Still important for these lanes of JDG to be able to push a pretty pivotal lead by this point into the, or later into this early and into the mid game here with the Misfortune power, with the Renekton. They're going to have a lot of ability to pick whatever neutral they want, overload that, and WE, we're going to have a hard time contesting.
Yeah, it does look like the double crab did go the way of Shun. Again, somewhat expected. Like, we like this JDG comp early. I think their ability to Death Ball is going to be big. And also, the Trundle, like, this is a unique jungle champion. It can duel early, clears slower. And definitely one that I feel like, you know, the season changes kind of benefits. Like, Trundle as a jungler, if you want to fight first grubs in the past patch as Trundle, well, you at this level, you probably should FF the game. Because Trundle's just not winning that fight. Without 6, he definitely a limited champion in his own right, but does provide a lot of value and utility. If you are able to brawl, and this is a very heavy melee composition where Trundle might be able to brawl, could be big. So, White pick for Monki. I mean, again, this is the second time he's played it. We haven't really seen other junglers taking this. And just curious to see how this one works out.
Monki's coming nearby. Monki sacrificing a lot of his HP to try and set up a man advantage here for WE. Karis going to shift forward. Both members of JDG have their flashes available. Missy's going to get a huge stun. Flash back out. Shun's going to be there to cover. So only a summoner burned by the JDG support for that chase down.
It's okay. I actually don't mind the look from Vampire. I do think that Karis needs a little bit of help in mid right now. Going up against Scout. Just being down flash. And yeah, this wave's going to be tough. This is a little bit of a scary spot for Karis. With Scout having the wave here, I mean, once he hits 6, Karis going to be under threat. And of course, any trade from Scout can use that W. The Kingslayer to heal back up a little bit. So he's able to make good use of that. Meanwhile, we'll say Cube, who's really merged as the tank duty WE player. Ornn into Renekton. This matchup this season, I think, is a little bit better for Renekton just because of how strong the fighter items are later on. You don't get outscaled quite as hard as the Ornn. Like you can do damage later on in the game as Renekton, especially after the R changes. It does help out a little bit. Still think Ornn, especially like in mid game, your ability to be that utility and buy space for your team is nice. But I don't think the scaling of Renekton is like as one-sided as it used to be with some of the changes we have to the R, and then just how strong fighter items are this season.
And this game specifically, you know, Cube is a big proponent of why WE will be such a later game threat with those Ornn augments, right? If you can get those upgrades early to Karis' kit, you know, Monkeys, and then later on Taeyoon, you're in a good spot. WE's bottom lane might be in a pretty precarious one, the way they go for that engage on the Missing. Remember, flashes are down for Missing. The bullet time is up. Vampire is stuck between a rock and a hard place, and the only way out is back to base. Great bullet time there from Peyz.
Yeah, good angle there, as really no hope for WE to get out of that one. Pretty much a guaranteed play here for JDG. As barrier was actually popped there. It was in case the W hit.
Really wanted that reset, huh, Cubby?
Yeah, because they want to swap. They want to play these first grubs. So priority swap coming out for the MF Rel. And they're going to make their way mid with Sylas going top. Again, I spent some time on the Subjugate because I think that one could be really big for Sylas. But Sylas snabbing an Ornhorn as well. I just said snabbing. Snagging.
Snapping.
Yeah.
Snapping and nagging, the middle road.
Yeah.
I'm learning new words with you, Cubby. This is fun.
It's you steal it, and then there's snap engage. Definitely part of the plan. Thanks for the save there, Slayer. Appreciate it.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. Except when I call you old, then I'm not on your side.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, that's all right. I'm not 30 yet.
Oh, you're not? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. Grubs.
Oh, boy. All right.
Grubs are up. Shun is here. The swap has come through for both sides. And the hook's going to land for Vampire. They're going in on to Missing. The Ornhorn's redirected by Cube towards Peyz and Shun. They do eat the knockup. Scout's coming across, going to steal his own Ornhorn. Hijacking the play here for WE. In goes Shun, dashing forward, using the target to survive. Gets himself out and gets out to safety. Deadly Flourish going to land, though, onto Peyz. Shun, I don't think you can body block for your AD carry here. It's Scout coming over. Line of defense. Curtain call doesn't have the final song for this play on a JDG.
If Peyz could actually heal back up, too, as he has the Vamp Scepter. And, I mean, 1 for 1 when all is said and done with a trade up here for JDG. I still think that you can see some of the elements, though, of the WE comp again. Holding space, I think that's really big for them. Like every champion they have the ability to make and create space against a pretty low-range composition against JDG. So I think that is going to be big for WE to, you know, kite back in these fights. You know, if they're able to play backwards and survive against JDG, I think that's where they're going to be really in that comfort zone and just lean on all the tools and utility that their comp has to threaten the space, right? So, Karis? Okay.
Oh, there's something in my eye. Did something happen?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah. Grub secured, though, for Monki, and I will say we haven't had a Dragon take yet, which is a little bit peculiar. Gonna get another book.
Back to the last fight.
It's a good find here from WE. I will give credit over to Missing, as it was pretty nice Q, and of course, like, he goes down, but at least the threat from JDG was enough at this point where they could at least pick up Cube, who did flash, but of course, still caught the Ornhorn.
I like the aggressiveness from Vampire because he knows after dying to it that the bullet time wasn't available for that fight, and that's big. Is trying to take fights whenever Peyz doesn't have bullet time up to set up so much of JDG's damage. So, well, Vampire, you know, as a player, has been talked about and scorned at points in his WE career for his overeagerness to constantly engage plays. Pretty heads-up one there to force a fight against JDG without that key ultimate.
And again, Vampire, like, this 5-series win streak for WE. I think, like, if we don't talk about Vampire and really his level up in terms of performance, a part of that, I feel like it would be a real crime to Vampire, who...
It would.
I know has been memed down a little bit in the past, you know, not perceived as the strongest support in the league, but I've been really pleasantly surprised and pleased by the play that we've seen out of him of late. As, again, it really feels like him and Monki have been the driving forces and the two players that have really been a part of this WE 5-game win streak, and I'd say the two performances that have leveled up the most compared to their 0-6 start. So for WE, still some positives, as I think Vampire's last game was okay. He was doing his job for the most part.
He had one objective, right? Really,
there were a couple sussy solar flares, but outside of that, it was solid outing for Vampire. See if we can continue here.
Yep. First dragon still hasn't been touched, but Peyz having the 2 kills for JDG is pretty big. He gets to that Bloodthirster first. One of the very few first items and is an expensive one. So Peyz going to be a big person to play through. Hello! We've got 2 rogue armies. The Scout's going to be the one that has to flash away from a depth charge. Okay. Is missing in Peyz. We're a little bit late there to try and cover.
They spotted 3 there. I believe Peyz was spotted. So yeah, Taeyoon going to take that mid-wave.
Oh, Allah. We lose a trade to the Assassin Ornn? What the hell happened up here?
Yeah, the mage tank assassin. Actually, I do like Cube's build here. I feel like you can go Sunfire into the Renekton.
Oh, here we go.
Kind of be okay / contest the damage. Yeah, looks like he was a little bit extended for a plate. Okay. All the Forge God was cast and decently played out here by Cube.
Interesting to see all the
E came
wherewithal to hold. He held Dominus. I was expecting he would have panic ulted. No, he wants to save that. He still has teleport. Heads up from Ola. So if we see a fight break out towards this dragon, he TP's in. He will have ultimate advantage. There's no Ornhorn. There's no Emperor's Divine, and that might be just enough for W to even to slow down and just give this dragon. I mean, it's first one at 13 minutes as well.
Yeah, the dragon stacking is not really going to be a factor this game, which is a little bit unique. Again, haven't seen. I don't think that it's really WE's dragon to take. As again, early on, the strength of the MF, the strength of the Renekton, should be enough to overwhelm this WE squad. As it really is a death ball comp against the ability to try and create enough space to survive it, and use the range to thrive against it. And it's what WE's got. So see if that ends up being the case.
A slow early game. Finally looks to maybe enter its breaking point, especially once we get these plates knocked down in about 30 seconds time. And my question for you, Cubby, is who feels more comfortable with the pace of this game right now, based off of our draft? Because I do feel like
WE.
It's WE favored.
I think time's good for WE. I thought the AI tool that, like, or I don't know what the percentage tool that the LPL uses that spawns at the start. I find it very interesting because sometimes I agree with it. Like last game, I agree with it. This game, I didn't. I really feel like if this game goes late, it still should be pretty WE favored. They have a lot of ways and a lot of tools they can use to try and hold the line. I think the one thing that they might be concerned is just the ability for like a tank Silas to just not be dealt with. Like there might not just be enough damage total on WE. We'll see if that's the case. That was a nice toggle from the vision there from our LPL observers, which caught a really nice reaction time there from Shen.
Yeah.
So let's sneak out of that dredge line.
I love that single-digit ping right there. Just nope, no dredge line to lock him down. And no, yeah, I'm with you also because of the fact that while I know Jhin gets talked about a lot in circles as like kind of a supportive champion, you look for the slows.
A 5-item Jhin hits hard.
It hits crazy. And this is no lethality build from Taeyoon. He goes collector first, so he's likely going to build towards that super scaling route where you get the IE done.
Well, he did go a longsword, and that scares me.
It does also
that said, it might be an LDR second, which I am a fan of, if that ends up being the case. I'm fine with that. The collector LDR, I don't know if he needs to do it this game. If he does do it, that's okay.
As long as we get around to that IE and rapid fire cannon into a melee comp, I feel like Taeyoon near full build will be very, very scary.
RFC, I'll be a bit disappointed,
Oh yeah, actually, sorry. This is not an RFC game. I've misunderstood the assignment of that itemization. The assignment for Shun is going to be this Rift Herald, as we're looking for something to try and elevate the kills per minute of this game, but WE, ever so patient, will look to just let Karis cook in this side lane, and that is the big sort of 2-item power spike, right? You want to funnel as much as you can into this Azir, levels and gold-wise, and this is kind of the way that Monki played last game, just trying to lean into one of his big solo lanes and try to knock down this first turret, but Scout going to hijack himself, the Shuriman shuffle. There's the response, though, from Karis. Peyz is nearby, but Scout does not have the subjugate to boost up his health. And Karis gets himself a kill and a turret, and guess who's looking for more? It's Vampire. He's going to slow down the pace and earn the WE win on the bot side. Top side, it's Ala finally throwing down the Dominus, and that means that Cube turns into a chicken looking to run back towards the nest. Flash burn to just keep himself safe from the Croc.
And good plan to scout. I actually really liked how WE played that one out with Monki. Again, very decisive, using that Nashor's Azir with the all 3 grubs to force that first brick, secure feats, and again, WE able to get something going a little bit in their favor. Not a giant gold lead, but we do return to the Rift. Of course, response is from June. You're going to try and take this red buff. Should do so successfully, but can he get out? Oh, never mind.
Monki got it.
Here. Yeah, no smite. I didn't catch that. Very nice for Monki to play defense there, as he's done a good job on this Trundle of keeping up.
Now Karis just gets another well-positioned side lane matchup into a without Dominus, Ala in this Renekton. And I like this. I like the rotations. The WE are just continuing to show that Karis is their big win con. They're playing Monki towards the side of the map. They're getting him favorable matchups based on ultimate timers, and it's only a matter of time as another steal comes across for Monki before this likely Leandries is done for the Azir, and that Bailey dominated comp is going to be afraid of this Azir. Maybe they should just fear Vampire. Is missing, gets a ton of his HP taken away. Shun is close by. Monki going to have the subjugate up as the bolt time does come across. Monki uses the subjugate to get some health back, but it's not going to be enough as Shun gets himself another reset. Jumping on top of Vampire. He's going to make it a 2-for-1 for the pack. Only thing traded is a Karis top lane tier 1 turret.
Yeah, I'm not exactly thrilled about that fight here for WE, as it really felt like, again, like Karis and Cube, they had the TPs, but I still don't feel like this is the timer that's right for WE to fight. So
no.
I think Monki playing a little bit too far up there was a good reaction on the pillar to take down the MF. And of course, the only reason it wasn't 2-for-1 is because the Renekton was sold out the top side by Karis.
I missed that.
Yeah, I wonder if we get to replay that one, as that is Azir into Renekton. You know, I can be nice for Azir. Renekton just kind of has to catch and farm, but you shouldn't be going down getting solo bullet up there. So well played from Karis. Right? Yeah, leads to a dragon secure. I think Dominus was down from forcing Q.
It was. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like not respecting it without that ultimate is just a really precarious one. Here, we'll get the replay.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, this is just...
I mean, he's catching, and yeah, he's getting obliterated by Karis on the Azir. Oh, that's ugly. Okay. Well,
it was game 1. Scout getting caught in these side lanes and disrespecting. Now it's Ala.
Looks like me out there. That's not good.
No, you'd be the Ornn. You'd be the Ornn, except you'd have a couple more deaths to your name, and then you would come back and win us the flex game.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
That's how your Ornn went the last time I played with you. I don't know what happened since then.
Hey, I'm a good Ornn player. Ornn does not require much, but we do our job on that, champ. That said, Ala, that was a bit shameful up top, as gives a nice donation over to Karis. We'll say, kind of scary feeding Karis like that. Again, a lot of tools for WE to try and hold space. And, man, if you can kite back and get people stuck, walking through the Sand Soldiers, getting through that Emperor's Divide, we've seen how Azir can shred teams. And Karis definitely set up for success. I feel like last game dropped the ball a little bit for Karis, but it was kind of set up early on. Didn't snowball things as well as he might have wanted to on that rise. And a good chance here for Karis, who, again, to bounce back, try and get WE the win and push this one to 3 and keep that win streak, at least the potential of the win streak, keeping it alive.
Cube, almost level 14, so those Ornn upgrades not too far away here. And I think the first one might go towards Karis, who, as you called out, Leandry's done, is one of the few people on the Rift right now with 2 items in their pocket. Shun, obviously, being the one for JDG right now. And, again, a lot of junglers in the LPL have played pretty good in the Furies, but Shun's has looked like one of the most polished.
I trust is number 1 for Vampire. Only when you trust your teammates will you dare to go all in when they ask. This is Vampire. That's true. Again,
that's like the same power of friendship vibe I'd expect from a JDG player. The way this team is vibe wise.
Oh, this is a little bit of an early start on the Otacon.
All right.
I will say, starting Otacon, it still hurts quite a bit. Different version this season. There's only
Thornbound.
This patch. There's only one, but this, regardless of the version, this seems to be getting melted. This might just be taken.
Yeah, Karis secures it.
Close.
And there's no flowers to pick up, so W walk out with a significant XP boost.
Yeah, you get the flowers for free. You can see, I think going into that fight, it was about 10 to 12 or 11 to 12. I believe it might have been 12 to 12. I think everyone gets 2. Yeah, 22 secured. WE, can feel good about that one. Of course, feet secured too. Those boots a bit cheaper to level up, and still a feel good. We have seen with the cheaper boots, right? Just 500 gold. More people just buying it and just being like, all right, wait, we'll take the stat boost, right?
Yep. Gold boost, though, for JDG on the flip side is all the TPs back towards the bot side. Grabs himself a tier 1 turret. But kind of like game 1, there is some worry with JDG trying to just kind of coast through some of these rotations right now. They do have a comp that threatens a bit more later than last game with, the scout on Silas instead of Talia. You get Shun on his Nefiri. But I am still, once again, 20 minutes into another game, Cubby, asking, where is the cutthroat JDG that we saw against, teams like BLG, teams like AL when they swept them away? This is not the JDG we're getting right now up against WE.
Yeah, still a bit of swap in the side lanes, which for me has kind of been the story of the day. But I still have some faith in JDG. I'm kind of curious to see what they're waiting for.
That's what I'm asking, right?
Yeah.
What is the break open moment? Like, what items are we waiting for? Are we waiting for a Roa 2-item scout? Are we waiting to get Peyz a bit more ahead? I mean,
maybe a Riftmaker. I feel like Riftmaker is like the most reasonable or fairest one here for scout, and we are 40 seconds away from this Hextech Dragon spawning. Of course, that is the soul we have on the Rift for this game.
Big one.
So I think we might learn a lot here about how JDG feels about themselves, whether they fight this one or not, because you can see Scout basing right now. Does he have enough? Oh, no, canceled it. We'll see if he has enough for that Riftmaker. I feel like that's the big question here. Is this Yoink the Ornhorn? I'd be shocked if he pulls this one out now.
I think Cube just wants to buy time, or maybe Cube just wants to throw hands. Hello, Knock Up City. Cube is getting so much damage down. Scout has to hold on to the Ornhorn. And he limps away from the fight himself.
That's well played. I don't love that one from Cube because I feel like that's a big cooldown to be missing. But Monki.
Now Ola.
Okay.
Flash out of him as well. Monki and WE are much more proactive on the map once again. But yeah, there's always got to be one lane that falters.
Yeah, they dropped mid. Taeyoon rotated for that one, and Peyz with the free time on the turret. Gonna almost net that one down for himself, but they're stuck. TP is coming in, and JDG is just completely cut off.
All right, Missing trying to buy space, but they have to find a way to reconnect. Scout has the Ornhorn, maybe trying to set up a big combo.
Vampire
get Shun and Missing in. All off to the side. Bullet time with the crash down. Magnet Storm melts away Vampire's health bar. Karis off to the side, trying to get the Sand Soldiers up to push a lot of damage out himself. The WE on the back foot, playing 5 versus 4. How much do they want to over-aggress here? Monki runs out of subjugate timer for now. Shun kiting back very carefully.
They can't
starting to shoehorn WE in, trying to bait them further into a fight
Scout
that can end this
16.
game.
Scout can grab another ult. His hijack is up. I think this is a very scary fight for WE. I would give this one. I think that
trapped.
Yeah. Look at Scout. He's not spotted.
Look at Missing. They just completely flank out. Scout gonna flash himself back out of safety. Taeyoon follows after, but there's the Emperor's Divine. A huge play from Karis. Monki trying to brawl way out. Karis with another beautiful flash. Leaves Peyz in the dust. Just when we thought W were going to get trapped, circled, and shut down, it's the fight out from Karis and Monki that rescues them and might just get them the grand prize of an ace home.
Giant fight from Karis. He was the one that was set up for success in this game, the only one that goes down, but the Emperor made sure that they felt the pain of Shurima before he did, as that was a beautiful sidestep on the Shurima shuffle that came out from Scout. Now, I was scared of that fight for WE because the Vampire went down for free. I mean, that guy, he didn't burn a depth charge. He didn't burn anything. We're going to get a replay. Watch Vampire. He misses this Q into the wall. It's a bit of a flub here on the Nautilus as no depth charge comes out. The bullet time really only hits him and Cube, so I know that they deleted the Naut, and that's nice, but man, keep your eyes on Karis here. Again, talks about WE, their ability to hold the line and kite back. We see them take a little bit of damage here as they try and push forward. But once this turn comes in, Karis is able to operate in the fight because it goes on the Taeyoon. And again, Taeyoon, like, this is a really good engage on the Taeyoon. You think, man, Scout's on Taeyoon. They sync it up. It's a good cleanse out from Taeyoon, but Peyz wasn't in position to follow up. There's no bullet time over the top. Keep in mind, JDG's comp a little bit limited on the range, and as Scout goes back in, Karis gets full value out of that flash as he gets out of the Emperor's Divide, takes down Scout, and the rest of WE was able to turn things around because Monki actually did some pretty solid damage in that fight, I'm sure, if we look back.
Taeyoon also able to play back safely, gets the curtain call down. Jhin damage not to be messed with as well. Wherewithal on Team WE. Oh, Allah, my friend, that teleport was an errand play to try and save yourself, but he might actually... Oh, I thought he was going to escape Karis, but Vampire is there to sink his fangs into the croc. Good sidestep. They do commit the depth charge, but Allah will fall in the side lane once more in game 2.
Great read.
Oh my God,
Karis.
where did Missing just go?
Yeah, Missing gets picked as JDG was trying to hit the Dragon, and frankly, with those 2 kills going on over, they get an inner, but I don't think they can take down the Dragon. Scout's got a base, and there's going to be 2 inner turrets now going over to WE, and maybe an inhibitor turret.
That's the first time we've seen them in 3
Baron
plays.
Yep.
Knock down a tier 2 in mid lane.
Jeez.
The first time we've seen in 3 Baron plays across the series that we've seen WE knock down the inhibitor.
Going mid?
Yeah, I mean, Scouts, that was an interesting teleport. Scout's not respecting this potential
They're gonna get Scout
all
TP.
call for the end. Scout's going to TP the bullet time, interrupted by a pillar. Monki finally hits the pillar on the bullet time. The Nexus turrets are down. Shoots on the reset, though, going after Taeyoon. And WE might have overextended themselves once again. Peyz is stepping up and eviscerating all these health bars. It's got to be Karis and Taeyoon. Peyz trying to turn out the damage. It's the 2 big-time damage dealers for WE as Karis flies in after Peyz. The Emperor's Divide, though, falls short. Peyz survives. JDG survives with their Nexus exposed to keep the dreams of a sweep alive.
I mean, I just, like, WE, in a sense, I'm like, okay, we're pulling Scout's TP. I can see the value of that, right? But the push in, I want another look at that fight because Peyz was able to get so much more work done than Taeyoon. And, of course, Karis in the back half, he's the one that has a lot of the gold for WE, just wasn't able to connect. Yeah, okay, let's get this replay. This was a little bit chaotic for me. Great cancel from Monki on the pillar.
Yeah.
Of course, that's the value of the Trundle here. It does bring a lot of interrupts, but yeah, Monki just kind of throws his life away a little bit. Didn't have access to Subjugate, a lot squishier in this fight. Missing did a nice job of this engage. Here's where I thought this could have been game. Then Karis is kind of ripping through JDG. Him sending it here. He autoed the ward. Just kind of shorted the ult too. Peyz was barely able to get out. Taeyoon was taken down early by JDG. So, of course, Taeyoon had to step back in base. And, I mean, in the end, like, JDG holding on there. They picked up the Dragon in the back half. I don't think Dragon's going to matter a ton this game, but I don't know if WE could have ended that or not if they played it a little bit better. I think it was kind of close looking back.
I just think that Karis panics trying to make, like, the hero play on the Peyz where he just... You have the range, you have the space, you have the damage to burn through anybody. You don't need to all in for Misfortune with, like, 0 cooldowns. It's, again, our worry with WE that in these tense scenarios that decide games, they're tending to freeze up and panic. But this game is still very much in their wheelhouse.
I still feel like WE wins this game.
Yeah.
Again, just really tough to break the Azir. Karis, I know that there was a flub in the last fight, but it's not like he burned flash and flubbed. He will have that flash coming off cooldown soon. And the summoner spells are all up for WE, so I think that's why they're posturing the way they are. I look on the side of JDG and all the flashes are up too, so whatever upcoming team fight we have might be bloody. It's WE, they do know that, of course, that Nexus is open. And I will say this could be a unique game, Slayer. I've not seen many games where we actually have Nexus turrets respawn, but I wouldn't be surprised if that actually happens this one. That's a 5-minute timer. And you can actually see bottom left of your screen that is, looks like it's kind of being tracked potentially.
Looks like it is.
I see an inhibitor timer, then I see a double Nexus timer, then I see top and bottom.
No, I think isn't it 3 minutes? Not 5. I thought it was 3. Those look like they're coming up right now.
Are they back
or
up? Are they going to show it?
Yeah, they're back up. I mean, they took the timers down. Or are they recharging? We're getting a little bit exposed here. Maybe we need a MOBA trainer section on Nexus turret response.
Yeah, you know, maybe they need to just quiz us, you know, just some pop cards here. I thought it was 5 minutes. I could have sworn. Again, I saw the graphic, and I don't see those inhibitors back up. Or, the Nexus turrets back up, but, of course, the spectators aren't always the most reliable client.
Nonetheless, I do agree with you, though, Cubby, that I think JDG have a lot of time to stall out because you can easily, well, maybe with the Baron coming up, that's the big worry. You could easily give away some dragons. And the one issue that we did see in Game 1 when W were playing ahead, playing with, you know, what we thought was a victorious state, is them kind of slow down and kind of let JDG go back through the motions. Right now, it's catching super minion waves that definitely give a lot of value over to Peyz' build.
We for sure saw in the last game, like, JDG in the back half did outclass WE, right? It was a game we felt like WE was bound to win.
Yeah.
But I think this game's a little bit different. I think Azir is going to be really, really, really scary. I don't see a world, like, Karis would have to really mess up for me in order to make this one be a JDG win. Like, this Azir is really far ahead of the curve. He is full XP. He really can't pick up anything more in value this game. He's got one more item slot left, but man, the items that he has in his inventory, that Zanya's being up, the Flash being up.
Yeah.
If Karis is allowed to operate the way that we've seen him be able to operate in some of these fights, you got to believe that's going to spell the doom of JDG in this game and push us to game 3.
Oh, missing. He's fine. But also, on top of all that, right? Ornaments.
Yep.
Yep, ornaments are through. So the gold lead is more deceptive than it seems.
Misallocation there. Might have been given the Taeyoon a little bit early. Did go on to the moral reminder, not the IE, where you want it to be. But it was given to him before IE came in, as at the moment, Scout's going to try and escape here, and Scout just might go down.
Good pillar. Tries to turn on to Karis. Steals away the Shuriman soldiers for now. So as an Emperor's Divide, Shun very lucky to dodge on that dredge line. I think Monki just hammers away at his health bar. The JDG have control of the river for right now, and is very, very dark and scary for WE to kind of walk into unless they do it as a unit.
Yeah, they've got Cube. He can face tank. It's okay. That was a really nice backstep by Karis to step away from Scout, who, as well as Emperor's Divine, is still looking. He is spotted, but
going on to missing. Scout. Oh, look at that. Emperor's Divine. It stops Karis in his track. Shun flies in as well, but he's getting blown away by the Sand Soldiers, and Karis pops his on. He's at just the perfect marker. Now the curtain call comes out. Peyz and Alla trying to run away desperately. And they should be able to escape for now. The force shot doesn't slow up Alla, but that should seal Baron and maybe the fate of JDG as Monki is on the hunt. Monki is looking to end this game alongside Karis as he TPs in. They may not even want the Baron, Cubby.
Yeah, I think they can end again. I think it's going to be just so hard to get back to that Azir in this game. We saw Scout give a pretty admirable effort. It was him and Shun trying to get into the back line. And Karis, he didn't play it perfectly, but he did play it well enough to escape, TP back, and we'll see if this spells the doom of JDG in this game too, as it's 10 seconds on Shun and 20 on Scout. Always pulling the wave, doing a decent job of it.
Yeah.
He actually got the wave. I think that's a lot of tempo killed. And there's a super minion on that bot inhibitor.
This is starting to get frustrating to watch. Just protect the minion wave. You can get up to the Nexus turrets. There's no bullet time.
Yeah, they didn't protect the wave.
But now, I mean, now they don't have any tempo for Baron either, right? They're on the reset.
Yeah, no, they
totally
JDG
are all back up.
Yeah, they totally threw that one. That could have been a free Baron, and it's being hit by JDG right now.
Yeah,
as
why
Cube,
not?
He reset. He's got no TP.
They're going to run their way up here. JDG, though, we're sending 2-minute kind of delay.
Missing, not spotted.
Off to the side. Neither is Alla. He pops the Dominus really early, and now he's going to back off with Dominus. They're going to try and turn back onto Baron. This is not low enough for them to thread. Monki gets to walk in with a red carpet, and he's going to try and go after Peyz for now. Monki kind of getting confused, discombobulated with targets to go for. Baron's also at 2K. This is just chaos. Nobody wants to start the fight. Nobody wants to take the Baron. What are we going to do? Finally, the bullet time comes up. Vampire's getting denied. Health bar goes down. The Baron's still only being done by Shun. Peyz is going to turn his attention back over, and Peyz secures the Baron. Now, JDG, they just got to get out. Try to take as many Pearl Banners as they can with them. But Peyz, he doesn't want to flash over the wall. Alla goes down next. Peyz, you should have just flashed out in the first place. But Scout on the back end, he's trying to end the game. Peyz is going to try and stop the backs. Can JD make off the heist and just win this thing right now? Peyz is sacrificing himself with Shun. They're buying so much time for Scout, but he doesn't have the wave to do it. And it's going to cost Peyz his life. It's going to cost all of JDG his life. And now WE may finally get to win this.
This game is Drug Slayer. This series is something else. I don't know what's been going on for the last 2 minutes.
My eyes.
WE's like tried to end 2 times, maybe 3's a charm. As they have 5 up, they're marching down mid. Scout's going to try and cut the wave. They only have 2 mage creeps, so if he's able to cut the next wave, he might actually be able to do it. But that said, Karis is basing. Okay, Scout's going to go back. Alwa's going to be up. It's going to be a 5v3 with Peyz and Shun probably not going to be in for this fight. I think
They
that's
have
going to be it.
grubs.
That
They
should
have
be
grubs. Nexus turret's down. Scout can't hold the line. Taeyoon hits like a truck. The last Nexus turret still being safe. They're pulling Monki under it. Karis is here, though. Last Nexus turret down. Last hurrah for Ola and JDG, but they just can't get to Karis. They can't touch the damage dealers. And finally, can WE end this game? Scout's trying to throw them all into the Nexus turret. The turret is going down. The Nexus will finally fall. Oh my God.
Oh, Lord. That was like watching a Bears game, except Bears usually lose, Slayer. That was... Jesus.
That almost hurt as much as the Kawhi shot, man. Holy moly.
Well, you know, WE.
This is too cheery. This is too cheery music for what we just watched. I'm hearing these nice bells. No.
The fourth time they attempted to end the game and hit the Nexus, they got it. All right? That's all that matters. And you know what, Slayer? I got to say, as messy as that game 2 was, as messy as the series has been, I'm glad we get a game 3. It's been fun in the end. You know, masochistically.
I mean, we deserve one, too. I mean, we deserve it, the way WE's played. WE
could have 2-0'd the series,
they could have 2-0 JDG if this is a different world, if we want to start playing the if hypothetical scenarios. But, ooh, Cubby, how do you wrap your mind around that one? I find it a very impossible question I may have just levied your way.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I gotta say, I think that the WE comp, I liked it. Their ability to hold and control terrain was good. And for JDG today, I feel like Alva and Scout have just not shown up to the level that I'm used to seeing, especially Scout show up to. I know that we saw some flashes in the back half of those fights, but it feels like JDG is just really disconnected, and like Alva has just not really had a giant impact in these 2 games. So if anything, I'm looking for a little bit more out of him. But again, the LPL AI stat tracker, it was a lie in that one. We said early on, we like the scaling of JDG. They had the ability to really control terrain in that draft, in that comp, and they did so. Again, the ability for like Azir, Jhin, Trundle, or Nautilus, I mean, I think of all the ways that you can get displaced, get CC'd with that draft, and all the range you have to play into as 4 melees and an MF over the top. I think that's a really tough game to win if you are not playing fast and furious out of the gate. And I will say that I think that style of draft on this patch is a lot harder to do. You know, you don't get those 2 grub fights where you're praying for teams to show up and flip, like with a Renekton 6, a Sylas 6, like you're really strong at that 6-minute fight. You gotta wait till 8 minutes, a little bit more time to get some items in, a little bit more time to make sure that everyone gets 6. I just don't... I feel like that's one takeaway, you know, that draft is a little bit weaker, I think, in this season, or this split, or this, you know, Spirit Blossom versus Noxus, but Jesus, man, like, can we make sure that, like, when we hit the Nexus the first time, we end for the next game? I'd love to see that.
Can we make sure when we're 5 versus 3 with Baron, we, like, escort the wave correctly? Like that could have been the end, too? Whew, okay. I mean, the important thing is W got to win. I also think, partially to your point about how we're learning to adapt on this new patch, I think with how much more open and slower the early game phase can be, you kind of see the why Nefiri priority might be going down in specific comps here. Like, I just think that if Shun isn't on that power clearing Nefiri that just farms up this whole time and like enables a slower game state, like if he's playing, you know, a Sejuani, he could just play, or that Skarner comes out here with a comp that needs to be proactive, he can force the issue. But the entire game, JDG just were so skittish to even do anything in a game where they were clearly going to get outscaled.
Yeah, I think it's really big that like Karis got ahead early, because Karis is actually able to play the side lanes out really well in this game, which I think it's gonna be a Karis MVP. Like I think it has to be it. Yeah. I know it wasn't the cleanest last couple of fights from Karis, but we did see some good moments from Karis, especially this fight where he was really able to stand and fire. Had a really high value ultimate, kind of reset the fight. Monki did a lot of work in this fight. Looking back, I was focused on Karis the first time, but that Emperor's Divide set up Monki to clean everyone up here, which was for sure a big deal. So yeah, I mean, again, this Trundle pick, I really feel like, again, with this patch, like the later grub spawn, Trundle needs a little bit more time. You have a little bit more space to like be creative, actually interact with lanes, find some skirmishes. And we've seen Monki play the Trundle twice, and I'm kind of sold on the pick. Like, historically, you can play into the Xin. I think playing it into a really melee-heavy team, the disruption it has against Rel MF, like, there's actually a lot of value that Rel can provide, or Trundle can provide.
Yeah, 2-0 Trundle. I mean, we keep talking about those, you know, pivotal pocket champs. Monki continuing to show that, you know, as we talked about, kind of from the sentiment we've heard, it's his team, and he has the confidence now to play these pocket picks. Like, looking even, like, bring the scope even further out, Cubby, that is the type of player, and check the box is being checked of a guy that is a franchise cornerstone, dare I say.
Whoa. I mean, given the history of Monki, I think saying that, like, the start of the split,
yeah, I'm a little bit
crazy.
But, I mean, results-based
like
analysis?
Yeah, I mean, like, Monki has made a few appearances in the past. I mean, with EDG notably, that really didn't go well last spring. But I gotta say, like, Monki's, like, really showed some game. He has been a real highlight for this WE squad. And it was a team that, you know, we've really felt like at the start, it was like, man, like, if Taeyoon can carry these guys, maybe Team WE can win, right? Because this wasn't a team that was supposed to be favored. And now it feels like Taeyoon's kind of backseating to a lot of the gameplay and what we're seeing out of Monki. And we have seen some people step up. I think that Q being on these tanks, like, he has proven that he's pretty valuable. Just able to create some space. And the guys have cashed in. So, again, WE have been a really positive story for the LPL. I know before the series, if you guys missed our pre-show, we do try and throw, you know, some clips, some graphics in. And feature tweets from a few community members. Aragon, who I know is co-streaming this series, and Dom. And Aragon had WE ranked just below JDG as the 4th best team. And Dom responded being like, hey, I think these guys could be top 6. 957 again saying, hey, the script's exciting, right? Like, WE is actually climbing up. And this is a team that just continues to really create new expectations for themselves. As, I mean, if they win the next map, Slayer, that's a 6-series win streak after starting 0-6, capitalized with really the crown jewel and toppling JDG, and a series where we could be sitting here right now showing this, like, holy crap, like, WE just 2-0 JDG, right? If game 1 went the way we thought it should have for WE. So, again, I think that WE, their ability to scale up throughout all this has been huge, and yeah, excited to see more from this team, frankly, which is not what we expected to say when we saw this roster at the start of the split, the start of the season.
It's an awesome story. It's an awesome script, as it's already been described. I think we heard the player of the game audio. We got word that was Karis, well deserved. So get a little highlights of his play towards the end of this game. Karis, standout performance on this Azir, but will it be enough to bring them over the edge? We'll have to find out going into game 3.
I mean, excited to see. Like, again, I feel like WE's gotten the best of JDG throughout the series, even though it's a 1-1. But, hey, game 3, JDG does get access to blue side. If they do want it for the first time in the series, that's a big one. So curious to see how that impacts draft and impacts our upcoming game.
Of course, with Fearless, there's a bunch of champions taken off the board, which is going to make it even more fun here, tapping further into these players' champ pools. We are going to go back to a break, and on the other side, Game 3 to decide if we get a huge group of sets shake-up or if JDG survive and quell the hot